everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to Mwikali Talks. Remember what we did last time? I introduced you to this beautiful, amazing space. This is Twiva Studios, and guess what they do? They make sure your business, your content is created, packaged, and sent out to the world in a beautiful, beautiful way. And I'm just happy to say I am home, and I love it here. And I hope you love all the content that we create for you, because today the conversation is just So it doesn't help that this guy is my friend, like a personal friend. The kind of people you look forward to their hugs before Msalimiane. And I saw a post about him that I'm going to tell you about when we start this conversation. But he's a content creator. He is a master of arts. I think TV, radio, stage, acting, kwa TV, tech, father, husband, brother, friend, Daddie Marto. Hii list ni refu.
Endelea tu. Bado kuna zingine umeacha, go on.
Reviewer, fashionista. Welcome to the show, Daddie Marto.
Thank you very much.
You know, I saw a post on Instagram, and Wakio was talking about you. And the truth therein is like, Daddie Marto is not the kind of guy you meet and you say hi and they say hi. I mean, they ask you, how are you doing? And you just say, I'm fine, and they leave it at that. They just be like, okay, I'll take two, eh? How are you? How are you?
I mean, it's meant to be an intentional question, because...
But then we do not take it intentionally. We just answer it.
Well, people have their choices and their consequences, and my consequence is that I end up having very long conversations.
That is so true. That is so true.
Yeah.
I remember this one day we were at Switch, and then you had to drop me off somewhere, and that I don't think that drive was long enough.
Yeah.
Is it a thing because you intentionally just draw out stuff from people?
I don't know how I end up
doing that,
because I don't know. I'm just able to ask how are you, and with the how are you, from the response I get levels of, this is the fine I am telling you so as to finish this conversation.
Okay.
And this is the ask me something more. Like, I have more to say, but I'm not sure whether I should tell you. But just ask. If you ask me, I will tell you.
I will tell you.
Yeah. But if you listen, niko poa, me move on. After, niko sawa. Wewe. Ni what ina happen. Hapo sasa ndio mtu anaanzia kuongea. But then I've just always been intentional. Probably I've been looking for a me in other people. Okay. So I decided.
Do we ask you that?
No, you don't.
See,
anyway.
the thing is, in a world where we've taken how are you so casually, like this, was it intentional for you to choose not to take it at face value and be like, let's just be intentional with how really are you?
So I think the very first time I ended up giving value to it was it started with Ian Bogwa.
Oh.
You can't ask Ian Bogwa, how are you?
It's like, can you take it?
You can't.
You
cannot.
You cannot ask
So
him.
I think from the very first time I heard that about him, I was like, wait. So by the time you ask somebody how are you, it needs to be very intentional. Okay. Otherwise, I'll just say hi. I'm a what's up? I'm a you good?
Yeah.
But if it's somebody I value, I'll just ask, how are you? And if, they have time, they will actually say how they are.
Yes,
I've ended up having very deep, intense conversations with people I did not expect. You will just see, like two people I can mention, but not what they were going through.
Yeah.
But like Bilal Mwaura.
Yes.
And James Webo, he's in County 49 as the villain.
Yeah.
Man, like I got to know things about those people. I'm like, I value and I respect you. Yeah. And you've been through stories in life that can make 6 or 7 movies. But I'm glad I asked you, because it helps also me, know different things about different people.
Yeah. Good stuff. I think there's a good place to start this conversation. Congratulations on County 49.
Thank you very much.
And many other things that you're doing. But anyway, we'll just get there. But then you're a creative in, the very essence of the word, because I think even the way you relate with people, you're very animated, you're very...
No, I'm not.
You are... Did I even... No, you're not. Yes, no, you're not. No, you're not. You are a father, Manapataure.
Yeah.
No?
We'll just keep it at Manapatao.
Serious?
Baba Martin bado ni Baba Martin hata kama ni Baba Job. That's my brother.
Okay, but then it's a brand thing.
Yeah.
Before even we knew what the name is, you were just like, okay, alafu, tutaongeza. And then you kept it, and then ukaongeza for a bit, and then that disappeared.
Who knows? We might be getting 6 others. Hata tutakuwa tunaweza taure, jarwa, fuatwa. Itakuwa jina mrefu sana.
Okay, well, manapata stuck.
Manapata stuck.
Yeah. And today's conversation is around fatherhood because I think I saw a post early this year you put on Twitter. It was a thread. And I've seen you post things that are vulnerable. I've seen you talk about your family. I've seen. But I don't know why this conversation sat with me. And I think I told Carol then because I was at Switch and she was my producer then as well. And I think I mentioned that I'd like to, if it wasn't Carol, it was maybe somebody else. I was just like, there's something here. And I don't know, because now you are a dad and I've known you before, before you became a father, husband, and you've na uko mesonga sana kuna venye ulikuwa kijana hii haircut haikuwa hii
hawa ni wale they could not give me a second of their time cause nilikuwa nimebit.
Okay, the haircut, this is better. This haircut is better from back then.
I am not my hair.
But unaona pia mwenye alikupata na hiyo haircut ya before. So let's just say Koku has walked the journey of improving this man.
Yeah.
But that post, it was Father's Day. And many things came out. The fact that we are very quick to celebrate our mothers on Father's Day and be like, I'm celebrating myself, I'm the father, I'm the mother of this child and all of that. But it became very clear that there are roles that are different. True. And I don't know if that was something that you knew from beginning because you're saying your father wasn't present from back then. But then how has that changed for you? What was it like growing up in terms of, having a present father?
So I'd say for me, life began when I came into myself and realized that I am a human being. I am not just a human being, but I am a man. And that happened after my breakup.
We've walked this journey and you were so lucky.
I had been in a relationship for 4 years. Yeah. That breakup really threw me off because I thought I was being the best version of me, only to come to realize that there were things about myself I had not yet settled. And people can walk together and still differ. Yeah. And that happens. People can be the best people individually, but together they are not, Yeah. So being intentional and working with things as they are as opposed to how I don't want them to be, those are the 2 things that have actually helped me.
Just say that again. Deep.
Being intentional and working with things as they are, not as you want them to be. Okay. Yeah. Those are the 2 things that have helped me. So when you're working with things as they are, that does not mean you do not have intention to make them change.
Better. Yes.
Because, like I said, being intentional and 2, working with things as they are. Okay. So I went through a program. For some reason, people really thought out this program, but it helped me. It's called Man Enough. The timing of it was perfect for what I was going through.
Was it intentional to go through the program, or it was just
somebody suggested it?
Oh.
So, she was grooming me for herself. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, but then she realized I'm very damaged. Akaniambia, wewe.
Yeah.
And ile program inaweza kusaidia sana. And then after nimetoka kwa hiyo program alikuwa move on na mtu mwingine.
So ni program ya how long?
Miezi kadhaa. Ni venye sasa mimi nilirealize baadaye that I was being groomed for her. By her. But then I was like, I was glad I went for it because it helped me discover the man in me. So the reason why I say it was during this breakup, it was at that time that I realized I actually needed my father a lot, like heavily. I needed to understand what I'm going through. I needed help in processing what I was going through in that breakup. I was like, I need to understand what is it about me that made this not work, and why as a man would I be put in a position where I'd question the manhood, my own manhood. So I needed my father at that time. So I tried reaching out.
So needing your father at this point, he wasn't there.
So my father left left Kenya to work in the UK, I think when I was in class 8.
Okay.
No, when I was 8 years old, not class 8, I was in class 3. The next time I saw him was 18 years later. I was 26. That's the next time I saw him. From then, I saw him when I was 26. So by that time, I'm my own man.
Yes.
So on that year that he came is the same year that I took advantage because he'd just come into the country. Like, because I have this person that I'm with, let us do the Rora show. And since you're here, let me take advantage. I'll have my father and my mother present.
Yeah.
Perfect. So had the wedding, had the traditional wedding, finished everything. Everything went well. Then 2 years later, vitu zikaanza kukwama. So even as he came, we had never had conversations, heart-to-heart conversations, because it was just awkward. Like, he doesn't know the kind of man that I am. I don't know the kind of man that he is. I don't understand him as a man. I just see him as a father, not as a man, And those are two different things, as a father and as a man, especially in terms of relationships. Okay. My relationship with him as a father and my relationship with him as a man. So I knew he was my father. He sired me. Yes. But then as a man, I did not have a connection with him. So after now my breakup, going through my emotions, living in my one bedroom in Donholm, where my living room was my bedroom, with my one mattress there, and then my bedroom was my store where I put everything else. Hey. It was a good stage. It was a good place to begin.
You hated the traffic more than the house.
I hated the traffic. I loved the house. Yes. I loved being in the house. Yes. I hated getting to the house. I remember, the starting over when in that house.
Isn't that like the hardest thing
at that time I did all my shopping at Nakumatt Lifestyle. Makosa sana, don't ever do your shopping in the same place. Because sasa ni ile sufuria, kijiko, basin, everything, because I left everything. Ni mattress nilibeba na nguo. Everything else I left in my previous relationship. Yeah. So huyo teller alikuwa akaniambia, "Oh, okay. So ndio umetoka kwa mama yako."
Woi.
Hata ungesema ndio nimetoka kwa bibi, uliona tu ni kwa mama yangu. Unidunishe hivyo.
Mimi na miaka yangu.
Mimi na miaka zangu 20 ilikuwa ngapi hiyo? Ilikuwa miaka ngapi? 26, 27. Wait, it was in 2000 and checking naona tunaga issues na miaka yetu. 2015.
2015, yeah.
2015, I was 28. Yeah. Yes. So like, ndio umetoka kwa mama yangu, sema, okay, it is well. Took me like 2 more months before I could buy a bed. Another 2 months before I could now get some appliances, and then I moved from there now back to Kawasukari, where I now continued rebuilding my life. Yeah. But anyway, so during that phase, I remember I was just seated on the mattress. Bia juu bedroom haikuwa inashika network, niko hapo kwa living room na mattress yangu. Hakuna TV, hakuna kitu, mimi tu na laptop yangu hapo na wifi. Hey. And I was just trying to have a conversation with my dad. I was just trying to chat with him. And he threw it back at me and just said, if you want money, tell me, I'll send you money. I was like, okay, you'd already sent money. I had been able to buy these things because having just abruptly been pulled away from. So I was to get a loan from him to do a business, to start my business, to buy equipment so that I can start my own production. Yeah. But then by the time the money came, I could only now use it to rebuild. Yeah. So if you just need more money, just tell me. No, I just want to have a conversation with my dad. Say, you look like you're depressed. Talk to your mother. I was like, excuse me? No, I need to have a conversation with my dad. Say, whatever you're going through right now, you need to be like a Givenji. Givenjis are not like that. I was like, okay, I have not related with you well enough to know how Givenjis are supposed to be. So tell me, what should Givenjis behave like? Yeah, kaniambia, if you just want to talk to somebody, talk to your mom. So he messaged my mom. So my mom now got so worried because every time my mom would talk to me, mwanaume, mimi niko sawa. I mean, yes, I'm in pain, but niko sawa. But then the alarmist in my dad throwing it now to my mom now calls me alarmed. Yeah. It's like, are you okay? My son, nini? Mimi niko sawa. I just wanted to have a conversation with my dad. Clearly, he's not capable of it. So when I went through the Money Enough program, I realized there are there's something called calling out a man in yourself, that there are father wounds that not just me, but a lot of men in the world have. A lot of men have father wounds. You know, you talked about, you know, responsibilities, you know, having your own mission and charting that path for yourself. I was like, okay, this is what has happened, and went through the program. Okay. Siku graduate, I think juu nilianza kupiga mashoots za kuzunguka Kenya, so during the graduation the day I was not around. But it was a program that really, really helped me to understand what I was going through and to understand what I'm going to go through in future and give myself a mechanism to quote unquote cope. Because more often than not, a lot of men, hata wale wako kwa hii room, we cope more than we conform.
That's true.
We cope more than we conform. Yeah. So situation inakuja, kuna wale inaweza wamaliza, kuna wale wataichukulia, then unaifikiria, unaipangia pole pole. Kuna wale uko na mechanism ya una block out the pain completely, you just focus on the task ahead. Yeah. But you know, men have a huge burden on their shoulders, on how they're supposed to respond to things, what they're supposed to do when things happen.
And I think that's the same answer you got, because it's assumed, and we do that a lot, even with our brothers. You're just like, you'll figure it out. Yeah. And when we are weak as women, we lean in on the men.
And when the man is already going through his own issues, and then you lean on them. Yeah. So you're basically telling them, forget your issues.
Deal with mine.
Deal with mine. Yeah. So that is why we end up not dealing with our issues. So we cope.
I've heard a lot about mother wounds, but this is the very first time I'm hearing
about father wounds. Men are damaged.
and it's true. Maybe we know that is happening to them, but then the talking, the conversation. Do you even know? Like, you remember how I've handled this before? So I had to talk to you calmly and be like, Daddie Marto, this is where we're going. Are you okay?
No. It's again, it was about being intentional and working with things as they are. So I got to realize that my situation is that I have grown up without my father, but I cannot be any less of a man that I need to be for my children. Of course, I have no blueprint.
No.
I just know what I should not do. I don't know what I should do. I just know what I should not do. So I just pray very hard, hope that I'm doing the best for my kids, and then just start working on the journey.
After going through the Man Enough, did you get someone that would walk the journey with you, or are you?
Funny enough, I did not. So I've always had the same issue when it came to also having a mentor, quote unquote. Okay. I've always found myself not wanting to take one person to model myself around. I model myself around different elements of different people that I appreciate. I see this, I say, okay, I like this. This I'm going to take. The rest, kanazo. Will Smith ninakupenda, sitaki kuchapana kofi.
Acting style zako nitachukua.
Actually, it's more of his bankability. He can sell. He can sell, and he's all personality. He's not just the character that you'll see. He's beyond that character with himself as an individual. So I like that. I'll take that. So in the same way, even with now the fatherhood or the parenting, I just said, my kids only have me to look up to. And me and my wife, but mostly me to look up to as their father. And I do not want to make a mistake. It's also, again, the bit on taking up responsibility. So, one of the reasons why I don't drink, or I do not partake.
We're going to do this here today.
One of the reasons why I do not take alcohol is because of the need to always be in control. One, and then two, which sometimes is a good thing, sometimes a bad thing, and two, to never blame it on anything else other than myself. I'm not going to say, I did this about my child or I did this about my wife because somebody advised me to. It will have been me who made the decision and took that option and route. You will suggest, and I'll still not come back to. If I ask you and you suggest something, I'll say, okay, sawa. If I do it, it's not because you said it.
No.
It's because I chose to. Which is something not a lot of people do. It's very easy to just throw the blame back. Like, it would have been easy to say I'm damaged as a man right now, and that is why I'm damaging my son because I was damaged by my father. No. I need you come into realization of your own, and you choose that, and you realize that you should not throw any blame towards anybody. You are a consequence of your choices and actions. Yeah. I am here right now, yes, because of where I came through, not came from.
Allah.
Children do not come. Children do not come from us.
Yeah.
They come through us.
Yeah.
They have their own identities. That is why you'll have two people who've been brought up in the same home that are total contrast
of each other. Yeah.
Probably even twins, and they were brought up together, but they are in total contrast of each other because they just came through us.
Yeah.
They just came through their parents, not from their parents. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I want to I'm going to mold my children the way I see best.
Yeah.
Whether they choose to take it or not, it is up to them. To a level, it's going to be up to them.
There's so many things that are said, probably stereotypical things that are said about boys, men who've been brought up by mothers, and maybe this conversation will take the direction now of the responsibility that when you look back, mom had to try, because even as a single mom utajaribu, kijana wangu najua na need he, and there are things hata yeye anajua, yeye haezi handle as well as a father can. How was that for you, and so, the responsibility? Again,
going back now to that post, because I heavily referenced that.
Yes, you did.
Because, yes, there have been a lot of single-parent homes. Well, mothers raising their children by themselves.
Yeah.
For some, demonizing the men around the child's life, which makes the child grow up with this perception about either men in general or that person as a father. And yes, the responsibility when it falls back to just the mother, assuming that the mother was there, the father was there, and the father was normal because the father died. There would be no demonization.
Yeah.
There'd be no demonization, and the raising of the child would still have continued, and there'd be no perception change of the kind of man that the father was, Because a child needs to grow up, well, fortunately or unfortunately, in the world that we're living in, a child needs to grow up knowing that all is well in the world.
Yes.
They need that. Emphasis on need. Because if a child grows up any differently, they grow up so damaged.
Yeah.
That is why children are lied to about tooth fairies and Santa Claus. So that they can grow up with that positivity and knowing that, wow, there is a lot to look up to when I grow up. Like they need to have that in their minds that when I grow up, I am going to be. They need to have dreams, aspirations. Kutandika mtoto na realities the life ukianzia kumdepress akiwa mdogo, by the time anafika teenager, their mind is not mature enough to understand the concept of it can get better.
Yeah.
So if they grow up knowing that it's going to just be even worse, that's why you have a high percentage of teenage suicides.
Yeah.
Because they're like, so if this is what I'm
is
going
there
through
to live for?
Right now, what about, hapo mbele? Because right now I look at my kids, I'm like, what? I think on Sunday, my wife and I went to visit our best couple who also have their own child. I'm like, I remember when this used to happen to me when I was a child. Me and my mom and my bro and my dad would go visit other couples who have their own kids, and then the kids would play. Then the parents are there sitting, talking serious stuff. Ile nonsense tulikuwa tunaongea kwa nyumba kwa serious stuff. Anawaambia, wait. So this is what our parents were doing.
Yes.
Guy. So we've gotten to that level of now we are not sitting and waiting for the adults to do things.
Yeah.
We are those adults. We are now the ones who are doing those things.
Yeah.
So I look back at what my mother needed to do every single day, for her as the sole caregiver at the time, with of course sometimes finances being a responsibility that my dad still upheld.
Yes.
Because that I've also mentioned. Alikuwa kituma school fees hadi until I was finishing, or not really finishing, at least a couple of years in campus.
Okay.
Before I was cut off.
What did you do?
I think I started questioning I started asking the man questions.
Ah.
I started asking him.
So away
questions.
from the finances.
Yeah.
The relationship.
Yes, I started asking the man questions because I was, it came out of Juaji, but I was asking the man questions beyond now the father. I was asking the man questions, and he was very uncomfortable with that. So, upon the Kikaumana. Anyway, so my mother did a lot for myself, for my brother, as we were growing up. And we get to a level where she will say, I am both your father and your mother, because that is the responsibility I have been given. Okay. But, you know, I just came to my own realization that we cannot say that she's both father and mother. Yes, she's playing the role of both, but she's still mother. She's still mother. And even the things that she's saying she is doing as the father, she still is mother. Yes, fathers have failed. Fathers have wounded. Fathers have injured. Fathers have set straight. We've had fathers, father figures, relatives who have been fathers, etc. But we need to acknowledge that Father's Day is for fathers. Fathers. The end. Not fathers, not mothers who've been fathers, mothers who've taken the role of mothers. No, we have those mothers getting that on their own day, which is Mother's Day. Ideally, it should be every day, but there's a reason why we celebrate them on these particular days. So let's acknowledge the fact that as damaged as the relationships between fathers and children have been, there still have been fathers who their children came through. Now I'm a idea to a certain level. Let's just celebrate that first. By the time a man chooses to take up the responsibility, not that it's been thrown at them, to take up the responsibility, they do go through a lot. Like, nikipata tu news hivi that I'm pregnant. There's something that happens in my head. Okay. So yeah, may discover, oh my God, I'm pregnant. Anaenda analia, my life is over. Oh.
How do we do that though?
It's
just, I think it's just a God.
It depends. Again, it's more on what you wanted versus what you're experiencing now. You see, like I said, my two things is being intentional and working with things as they are. For most ladies, you mostly want to work with what I would have wanted. I
have wishes. I have things. It's lined up.
Yes.
And then so now, how do I adjust from that?
Now you see, that at that point, depending on how intense your questioning of adjustment is concerned, hapo ndio kakitu kanaitwa depression because it's a conflict between what you want and what you have. Your conflict between what you want and what you have ndio inakuthrow into a pit of machozi and what not.
By the time we get out of that space,
so mimi unaniambia I'm expectant. Okay. Aya.
Okay.
Piga hesabu, what would I need to adjust zile percentages zinatokea hapa hivi. Aya, sawa. Sina solution, but naona ni kama hii ndio njia tunaweza enda. Sijui uko mbele kutakaje. But then tutakosea.
But you're already giving direction. You're in that space now. 2 boys in Nakoma. And now that you're in that space, I don't know what it is. Is it an everyday intention of reminding yourself it's not the things that I say to my child, it's also how I live my life because they see it?
What is it that I did? Tulikuwa tuna watch Narcos. Tunasema it's in Spanish. Zile cuss words.
Yes, atashika.
Zinasema in Spanish. Niliona anasoma
caption.
F-U-C-K.
Huh?
Anasoma. First of all, we need to stop watching Narcos.
Yes.
That was number 1.
That is Spanish.
And then number 2.
Yes.
That is a bad word. So saa zingine tu tukiwatch TV unaona subtitles, unasikia bad word.
Oh, no.
Yes. Very good. Because especially now, Marcus is 5 years old. His memory is starting to form.
Yes.
Because there's only so much you can remember when you were a child. But at least around 4 or 5, there are some things that you remember. His memory is beginning to form now.
Yeah.
So he's remembering a lot of things, even the smallest things. Sasa iwezi mdanganya. Ukimwambia Sunday tutaenda out. Asema, Daddy, today is Sunday.
Yes.
Today is Sunday. Are we going?
But you said.
Yeah, but
Dad, you promised.
Yes, but Dad, you're lying. Especially tunamwambia si tunamwambia lying is bad. Yeah, sasa yeye anatuambia tulimdanganya, you know. So such things, intentionally doing them around your child, because He's watching, he's listening.
He's
You're
learning.
molding the child. This Sunday we missed going to church. Hakuwa na feel poa. Because like, Daddy, let's go to church. But me, I want to go to church. Because, we had a couple of things we were doing. My wife's mom was coming from Ushago. We needed to go see her aunt because she's unwell. Ilikuwa na feel kauchungu.
Yeah.
But nasema, you know what? Understand.
Yes.
Understand. Okay, we are not going to go today, but we are going to go. But we are going to go next Sunday. But I still felt that, okay, we are doing a good thing in that we are molding him to understand that these are things that need to be done every Sunday.
Yeah.
But sometimes it might not happen. But hafai kujua hivyo. Yanafaa kujua tunafaa kwenda every Sunday.
Yeah. Yes. So there's been Deadbeat. I didn't know that name existed until that campaign started. And probably not women also going the direction of they're no good men, I'll just be a single mom, I choose that direction for myself, and I don't know what your sentiments are around that.
I really do not like that, personally. They are no good men, same way they are no good women.
That's true.
If that's
the direction you're gonna go,
if that's what you want to go by, just because you have not met the person with whom your energies match or your energies complement each other, does not mean that there is nobody out there. And do not intentionally bring the child into this world with that mentality, because you're going to transfer that mentality to them. If you get a boy, you're going to tell them they are no good men. So, me, I'm not a good man.
Already, that's what you're saying.
If you get a girl, she's going to grow up with, they are no good men. So the one man that will look good, akimkaribia hivi atasema, finally there is a good man. Anaingizwa box bio ingine. She'll find herself now looking for a father in a lot of men, And it has its own effects. It's best if a child grows up in the setup of both father and mother.
Yes.
As it should be. You came together, got that child. Yes, watu hukosana. Watu hukosa kuelewana. Lakini let the parenting continue for the child. Because more often than not, you'll find that there are women who will choose, yes, not to have men, have children by themselves, demonize the men. And then others who vent out the frustrations of the men that were in their lives on the kids. Unajiambia kwa sababu ni mtoto wake, ukimpunish ni yeye unapunish. That sort of thing. Because we've seen women being very violent with kids, thinking that ni mzee anapunish. Men pack light. Men pack light. Men can go. And we will forget. Let me tell you. It's the compartmentalize.
I don't think we do.
See, we came up with the word compartmentalization. My friend. Tuna compartmentalize ingine proper, unajua hii ndio section ya life yangu ninaisahau. Control Alt Delete. Nje. Kabisa. So if you choose, emphasis on if you choose. So choices have consequences. So the consequence of choosing to have children is that you will need to raise them in a setting where you have both father and mother. Unless you realize that this father is doing more damage to this child than helping this child. Where you'd need to be very and completely aware of yourself to realize that that is happening. So one of the things I say is that based on, I'm not saying he's a horrible person, but based on some of the choices that he's made, I was like, I'm glad I was not raised by my father. Like, based on some things, some choices that he's making. I'm not saying that those things are him in totality.
No.
They could have been things that came up later.
Yes.
Or things that were part of him when he was younger and when he was raising us. But I do say there are things about him I am glad were not transferred to me. That's how I can put it. Because a lot of things are transferred from the fathers, from the mothers, to the children. So I'm glad that is one of the things that were not transferred to me.
Okay.
And women need to understand that there is no such thing as I can do it better by myself.
Zero, no?
Two is always better than one.
That's true, though. Somebody said something very interesting to me a couple of weeks ago, that in this day and age, we are immigrants in this generation, and that we are in the space of the Gen Zs. when it comes to social media, because they were raised. Saizi Marcus akitaka hivi simu anajua cooperate, anajua kufanya,
you know. My friend, wewe anaweza ingia AliExpress, a ship toy. Mimi bado mtu kwa mlango hivi ameniletea toy. Oh, my toy. Na shida nini? Aliweka Visa, akaweka Mastercard yangu, akalipa na M-Pesa, akaweka zote.
That's true. Yeah. So nikiangalia venye sisi tuli grow up, ulikuwa unajua nani ako na TV? Because it was that rare. So now we are learning some of the things, and you're in the tech space, so something new keeps coming up and you have to keep educating yourself. But then this one's wanasoma kama basic. Hizo vitu zenye sisi tunangangana ku whatever. So social media has also been proven to be a way where kids also learn things. And you being tech whiz, we're seeing Marcus huku kwa mtandao, left, right, center. He's our own little tiny superstar. How do you then moderate that? What they consume versus what you preach, and what the world is saying to them on these gadgets, if they're exposed to the gadgets?
So I do not allow him on social media.
Okay,
that's for sure. I do not. The only quote unquote social media he's on is YouTube. Nandia kina Cocomelon.
Yeah.
My boy watches the weirdest of things. Oh my God. My boy will watch experiments. Zile za kuweka soda na Mentos ndani ina explode volcano. My boy will watch games. Gamers playing games for hours. Like, he's just watching gamers gaming.
What?
Sometimes weird.
You think cartoon things.
Anachokaga. Unamwekea Peppa Pig. Anachoka. Anachoka. Asha watch mpaka mwisho.
Wow.
Ameanza tena Cocomelon amewatch, amechoka. Now he wants things that excite his brain.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I have a child here whose school fees will break my back. Because I'm a genius, but
that is what's up.
Because he'll watch these experiments, you know, those...
Hajafika kwa kujaribu kwa nyumba, unapata nyumba half is gone.
Anajua hawezi. Anajua ni vita. Watu wanaonaga joka huko nje, lakini Marcus anasikiaga, wewe anajua.
Ni kubaya. Yes.
Then there's also the content that we do, which he really loves.
Yeah, we see it.
He sometimes strains a lot, but he wants to do it. Because the satisfaction of seeing it, he just laughs when I'm editing. And he just, like, niko kwa simu nina edit, ameketi hapa hivi, na actually nikiedit anajam. Ndio anataka kuwatch. Nione, anataka aone. Mimi ninashinda nikikata mpaka analia, nasema wewe.
Marcus ni kazi.
Relax, nimalize kuedit, then you can watch it. Okay. But he really enjoys, and it's more of, he enjoys it because it is something he's doing with his dad.
Okay.
It's not the what.
Yeah.
It's not the what is being done.
Yeah.
It's the intention of what is being done. So nowadays I even say, like, he's gotten to the level of crying when I'm going to work or when I'm leaving the house. He's saying, even me I want to go to work.
Huh?
Analia. Even me I just want to do something with daddy.
Yeah.
And I appreciate and I value those moments that I have been impactful to my child to a point that he wants to absorb more from me, which puts me in a very dangerous place, you know, because I can't mess up.
No, you can't.
I cannot.
Not a chance.
So every single day, him, you know, growing up, me seeing a milestone in him, in his, you know, you can see he's picking up new things here and there. He's being more courteous. He's being more aware that I need to say, please, excuse me, thank you, ask for permission.
Yeah.
You know, such things. Every single day, you just watch the growth and development. I'm like, I still have a long journey ahead. I think
you're doing a good job.
Ahead. Thank you.
You see, there's something else also we grew up not seeing. Vulnerability in the men in our lives. And I don't know if it's something intentional to show them that it's okay for you to cry, it's okay for you to ask for help. You know, as a boy, you don't have to have it all figured out at 5 years old.
So the thing is, for boys, you can't tell them it's okay to cry.
Oh, you can't? No.
They will cry every day. Have you met my boy? Oh my God. He will cry every day. He will cry over the simplest of things.
Yeah.
My wife called me on Saturday. Ebu ongea na huyu. Nini? I want chipo. Amelia amejirusha kwa sakafu, anataka kupikiwa chipo.
Kupika?
anataka kupikiwa chipo. Yeah. Come on.
No?
Hiyo ni siku ya kukula githeri ama mukimo.
Kuna menu.
Kuna siku za vitu zingine. So there's no you can cry in garagara kwa floor ati unataka chipo.
God,
no.
Yes.
Lazima ambiwe, you need to, there are things, so I try and encourage him. Like, you can't cry over everything.
That's true.
Cry if you're in pain.
Yes.
If you've actually been hurt,
Yeah.
you can cry. There's no problem.
Okay.
But don't cry because you want chipo. Don't cry because your bike is not working. Don't cry because you can't find the remote. You can't cry over every simple thing.
Yeah.
There are things to cry over. Because now you'll just be, ni.
I
Sometimes
don't
he does that. Yeah. Why are you crying?
They want attention.
Because anajaribu sasa kufikiria kitu. I want to go with you. I'm not even going anywhere. I don't even say I'm going. Now all of a sudden you want to go with me.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So that also brings in the aspect of discipline.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know. And, you know, raising boys is, it needs to be very, very, very intentional. And again, as you mentioned, especially living in this day and age where, so we are not just in the technology age, we are in the information age. We've had the industrial, whatever. Right now, and I think for a few years to come, we'll be in the information age. By this I mean, you don't need to go to school to find out something.
Yeah.
It is good to go to school because it's the socialization of school. But any question you have right now, I'll just go, check up something, research, come back with a response.
Yeah.
And because there is this flooding of information, of course there is that which is correct, that which is wrong, that which is very weirdly skewed towards helping you make the wrong decisions. I don't know why people would do that. People who just go online and lie about things, you know, just come up with their own stuff.
Yeah.
And because we're living in this age where getting this information is very easy and simple, you have these kids who have access to this information. Now there is no reliance on parents. The way you'd have a question, you'd go and ask your parents, why am I feeling like this? You just go on Google and Google, why am I feeling like this?
Yeah.
You know, and you'll get responses that might help you. Some will be responses that will lead you in the wrong direction. And the kids in this age now make it very difficult for now their parents, because now I'm looking at now the teenagers, and early 20s.
Because it keeps changing as they grow up.
Yeah, teenagers and early 20s, you know, the choices that they make based on the information that they have. Sisi tukiwa watoto tulikuwa tunajiona wajuaji. Na sisi tulikuwa tunajua yeni. Na hakuna place tutatafuta to confirm. Sasa hebu imagine saa hii wanaweza confirm. Anauliza mzazi kitu, mzazi anamwambia kitu tofauti, alafu anakuja na but hii nasema hivi, you know? Anasema huwezi mwambia ati hiyo achana nayo, hiyo tupa hiyo na kudanganya. And then again, it puts us in a place where we need to be very careful as parents on what we tell our kids is not the way to go, or because sometimes, so I imagine during my time it was acting.
Yes.
My parents telling me don't take the direction of acting because it will waste your time.
Yes.
Here I am right now.
Yep.
It did not make sense back then.
Yeah.
It is making sense now.
Yes.
And now, for these people now, or rather slightly when you were just after us, before now, ni social media.
Yeah.
Don't waste time on social media. Utapotea. So na imagine ule mzazi mwenye mtoto wake alifanya hivyo, alafu anaona venye watu wana make do social media kwa like, mommy, see, you've never been right about anything. So I'll never listen to you because clearly unaona hizo mamilioni ningekuwa nikimake saa hii. Exactly. So this day and age, ni maombi. Ni maombi. And even as our children grow up, we just hope that, you know, you can. So this is the best advice I ever saw.
Okay.
The best way to not lose your child is to not just choose what direction to show them, but to build their self-confidence. Build their self-confidence and self-esteem for them to know they do not need to be validated by anything or anyone for their choices.
Damn.
So this is the interesting thing. I have always been self-confident. I have never known where that came from.
Okay.
I can only chalk it back to my mom.
Yeah.
The way she brought us up. Because I have not, because everybody asks me, Mato, industry yenu mazee.
Hey, industry yenu.
Na venye watu wana, kwanza hapo kwa drink mazee, kuna watu uchoma.
Mbaya.
Na hizo vitu zingine pia, watu uchoma. I'm like, yeah.
But wewe?
Unataka kuniambia kuna kitu wewe? Choices and consequences.
That's true.
I grew up with enough confidence to know I do not want to do it. And hata mkiniforce. Watu walikuwa wanajaribu wewe mjinga, wewe ndio unajiona wewe ndio uko better kutuliko, wewe ni mtoto.
You'd hang out with the
yes, people who are
drinking. You'd be there.
But I'm not engaging.
No.
And when I got to the point where I would choose to engage, I have my limits.
Yes.
But I tell myself, this is what I'll have, that's it.
Yeah.
Na nile tu nikiputu mdomo busy. Si ati ni sitaki. Na kama sitaki.
Yeah.
Na usiniforce tutakosana. Unaniforce kufanya mimi kitu sitaki, you know?
Yeah.
And it is thanks to that self-confidence I realized I need to build in my child enough self-confidence for them to realize that they do not need to be validated by anyone in their choices. I have made my choice. I'm the one who's going to suffer the consequences. So let me be as I'm making my choices.
I love that, because when I'm confident enough or when I believe in myself, then I will make the right decisions and I will know what my worth is and what I cannot take, what I cannot stand.
And even if it's the wrong decision,
you
made it for yourself.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Before you go, Daddie Marto, I don't know what it is. Of course, Conti 49 is happening. Yes. If there's anything else that we're anticipating to see, hear from you, radio, TV, stage.
Every day is just something for me. You know, I can't really say, you just watch Daddie Marto.
Yeah.
You just come up with something and be like, okay. Because again, I realize we don't have those adults to wait to do things for us.
That's true.
We are those adults now. We are now not at the level where tulikuwa tunakaa tusema aki mbona sipewi majobs. Aki mbona watu hawaniitii majob. Aki na venye mimi ni mnoma. Mbona siitiwi makazi.
But then you took a long break. Now you're back on TV. Was that intentional for you? Because it was how many years since?
I was blacklisted.
What did you do again?
But Mwikali, you know this.
I do.
The bigger you grow, the harder it is to get jobs.
Yeah.
Wanasema umekuwa more expensive, utaturingia.
I think it's that break that also made you move into the space that you're in and you took it over by storm.
Yeah.
So you moved from TV acting and you started doing, at first it was crazy. Like you came in and just social media ukaenda na ukaenda.
Watu wa industry wakiniita sell out. Nimeacha kuwa actor, nimekuwa socialite. So wananiitaga Mato, tuko na show hapa tunataka utusaidie.
Budget yetu inakaa hivi ina align.
It's actually a good feeling. I have a foundation built. I have somewhere that I began and just building steps. Kidogo, building blocks.
And we can see it because even when you started doing the crazy transitions, we're just like, what is that? It's like magic. How many Daddie Martos are in this?
I thought we move on from that. We are just going to now
So now we are
else.
also, but see the thing that you've done to us is we're always anticipating So tushaona hiyo alafu. So I'm really happy.
So whatever happens will happen.
Yeah.
I am a creative in the creation space.
Yes.
That is how I'll put it.
Wow.
Whether I'm on TV, I'm on radio. We are living in the information age, and I am in that space totally and completely to inform and entertain.
Thank you for coming through.
Thank you very much
and
for
being
having
vulnerable here. We love it here.
Asante sana.
Na sasa unajua kwa sababu wewe ni content creator, nimekushow J place ni watu hiva?
Yes.
Sawa.
Yes.
Kwa sababu Twiva ni.
Niko nao hata kwa email.
Uko nayo?
Niko nao kwa email. Tunaongea.
Mnaongea. So if you are a content creator, at Twiva Studios, they have a platform for influencer marketing where they connect the businesses to influencers. And if you're looking for photography, videography, they will do all of that for you. Just take your business, your services to the next level and make you compete kwa hii market na level yao wase wengine. So not small a business inashaniwa away, whatever business. Small, big, everything. This is the space for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Daddie Marto social media zake. Tutaziweka mahali huku ama utatuambia ziko ni Daddie Marto.
It's Daddie Marto.
Everywhere.
Yes, Daddie Marto everywhere.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Always, you remember to subscribe.
Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment.
Adios, guys.